Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yep. Yep.
I did have one sound I wanted to play in the beginning. I was trying to find a nice bell sound to remind us of the start of the Rotary meeting. You know how hard it is to find a single bell chime sound? That was more difficult than I thought. So there's, other than some of those you hear on your cell phone that are annoying. So we're not going to play those. I don't like those. Those are too annoying. So welcome to the Rotary Club of Carbondale. Thank you to Gil Cronin for being our greeter today. Just a reminder, I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. If you need to unmute yourself to talk, feel free to do that. Ask questions at any time. So everybody should be muted. I will ask Sharon Harris Johnson if she'll unmute herself today and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. She's struggling for that button to figure out how to unmute herself. I will unmute you then. For some reason it won't let me unmute you. So I'm going to do it, Sharon, so you don't have to worry about it. Everybody ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Little technical difficulties there. Sorry, Sharon. How about Carl Flowers? Would you like to lead us in a moment of reflection today?
Absolutely. Considering the events in our country over the past couple weeks and responses of peaceful protests, including several in Southern Illinois, I offer the following. What matters in life is to take a stand. There will be situations in life where we must take a stand. If we do not take a stand, then we will fall down on our own eyes. Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carl. So, Rotary song, I went back and picked a classic one today. So feel free to sing along. So what'd you think of that one? Everybody good with that one today? Good deal.
Let's see if I can do the chat.
Rick Morris, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Sure thing. I will introduce our guest today. So we have visiting Rotarian Orbeck. We have Nic Skovgaard as our guest speaker today. And I believe that's it for our guest today. So welcome to Carbondale Noon Rotary.
Welcome, everybody. We've got a couple popping in right now that we're sitting in the waiting room, so I'll give them a second to come in. Sometimes I lose track of watching for them to pop in last minute. So as Mike's coming in the room, I'm going to start with club announcements. I'd like to thank Sierra Allen for putting together a survey. You probably saw an email earlier in the week asking you some questions about club goals and strategic planning for next year. So if you don't remember seeing that, drop me an email and I'll have Sierra send it out again. It's one of those things as we start the new Rotary year here in less than a month. Got to get our goals in line, and we figured through the digital age we'll use a survey tool. So Sierra, do you have anything you want to add to that? Okay, we can't hear you. I think you're going to have to unmute on the telephone. Okay, we're good. So, you know, I'm going to get with Sierra later this week, and we're going to send out another survey asking some basic questions on what does Rotary look like when we return to normal operations, and what does normal operations look like when we come back and start meeting together. I talked to Daniel Booth yesterday over District 95, and they are open to having in-person meetings of less than 50 participants when we get to phase 4 of the Restore Illinois plan here in Illinois. So what we would have to do, the President-elect Rick Morris and I will need to sit down with some guidance from the club, is we'll have to draft a plan on which doors are we going to enter the building, how are we going to exit the building, will we be using restrooms, will we be cleaning behind ourselves, how will we change food service. They'll have some basic guidance that they'll want done. And when you look at the Restore Illinois website, this is updated as of this morning. What's on the screen now is we are already in phase 4 in every marketable category. So in theory, we could be in phase 4 in Illinois here at the end of June, 1st of July. So asking for some feedback on what we want to do. How are we going to physically distance Rotarians around the circular tables? Those are the questions that Mr. Booth had for us. So if you have any thoughts of that, we'll start putting your thoughts together. We'll have Sierra put together a survey on some basic questions, and we've got a little bit of time to do that. Rick, did you have anything you want to add to that conversation on how we're going to transition back in?
So a couple things. First off, I'm excited to get back to meeting in person. I know Scout troops are starting to meet in person beginning this week. And I'm experiencing Zoom fatigue just as much as I'm sure many of you are. So it's going to be really great to get back together if and when we can. But we are still going to have to maintain those social distancing guidelines. As we move into next year, I've asked Sierra to put together that survey. I did get a small group of people together, some newer Rotarians, some more experienced Rotarians, and a wide variety or a diverse group to discuss these goals previously. And part of what came out of that is we want to get everybody's input. We have an idea of what the numeric numbers behind those goals will be, but we want to get input from everybody in the club as to what the priorities are, and then we'll go from there in setting those goals. Those goals do correspond somewhat to the different committees that we have. So I've talked to a couple of you already, and I'm going to be reaching out to more because we've got some people that are going to be stepping back from their committee roles. So if you're in a committee chair position and I haven't talked to you yet, don't worry, I'm going to be reaching out in the next week or so. Just want to make sure we've got our bases set moving forward. But I'm excited to move forward. I'm excited to hear that the school is going to be open to us, or that the school district will be open to us meeting again in person. Basically as soon as we hit phase 4. So.
Thank you, Rick. Because one of the questions that I think that will be part of that survey that Sierra will send out is, should we continue this digital format? I know there will be a few Rotarians that may be concerned about coming out too early and getting around other people. So I'd like to hear feedback if you want to continue. While we're meeting in person, we can either record it and send it out, or we can continue to allow Rotarians to Zoom. There's no reason that we can't try to do both if there's enough Rotarians that want to do that. So we'd appreciate any feedback that you're willing to provide us at this point. So moving to the next item on our list today, I don't see Gala connected today, but Gala is our donation match for this month. The list is on the screen. So if you'd like to continue sponsoring a month, we're continued out all the way to January of 2021. Feel free to pick up a month after that, and we'll add you to the list. The masks that we purchased from the Rotary District 6690, I have 3 masks left. I have 1 yellow and 2 blue. So we have dispersed 17 of those masks to fellow Rotarians in this club. So that is terrific. And if you want one of those last 3 masks, email me, and it's first come, first serve. I'll send them to you as soon as I get an address from you. So moving on, the Mass Carbondale project. Thank you, Harvette, for that idea. Right now, I am out of supplies. I've given away about 50 disposable masks, so I have some more on order. But if you know somebody that needs a mask, I will make sure they get one. All they got to do is email me at maskscarbondale@gmail.com, and we will provide those masks at no cost to fellow citizens. Ella, do you want to give us an update on the International Services Committee's discussion on Promise for Haiti?
Regarding the last
Very
mask,
good.
I just got,
Yes.
I just bought 50 masks myself, handmade by a friend of mine. And
Okay.
if someone needs them mailed, actually my company paid for them, and we're passing them out for the 21st anniversary of my company. So I'm mailing out 7 today. So if you know anybody who needs individual ones, I can just mail it directly to them.
Okay. If I get any requests before I get any in inventory, I'll reach out to you, and maybe you can mail a couple masks out in the interim. Would that work?
That'd be perfect.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that offer. Miss Lacey, the floor is yours.
I would simply say that the update is we're still in holding pattern with our 550 masks in Florida, ready for the shipment to Pinyon. So we're waiting. I am online checking out all kinds of updates about the making of masks, because between WHO and CDC, there are little tweaks in the system that they're recommending. And it still seems that the t-shirt fabric is one of the best fabrics. So would ask everyone, any good condition t-shirts or any part of the t-shirt that's good condition, hold on to them. We will have a date. We expect that we'll have a time in which we ask people to cut their t-shirts to certain sizes or whatever and get that all together for perhaps a shipment to Pinyon.
Great. Thank you, Ella. Cindy, do you have an update on the food project with SIH?
Hi, everyone. I did another delivery to SIH on Monday. This week's delivery was actually funded by the First Presbyterian Church of Carbondale. And this week, the food went to St. Joe's Hospital in Murfreesboro. Last week's delivery went to Heron Hospital, so they're rotating the deliveries between the hospitals. But I think Jill shared some photos last week. I know SIH has been very appreciative of the healthy snacks, and so thanks everyone for your support.
Thank you, Cindy. I did not have a chance to talk to Heartland Catering, but that project continues. I do hear from them that the food service is still very popular. So keep continuing to donate funds for that, and we'll keep that project moving. Gail White, do you have an update of anything on their other material needs at the Carbondale Warming Center?
Yes, thank you to Ed Reeder and Ginger Murray for donating shelving this past week. The warming center has enough microwave ovens now, so we don't need to continue collecting those. But they do have an ongoing need for more shelving to try to get the belongings of the guests up off the floors for better sanitation. My wife took some food this week, and there may be others who have done things that I'm not aware of, but thank you to each of you who may have done something. The next step that the club might want to participate in with the Warming Center, they are getting ready to launch an initiative with the guests to help them prepare for seeking employment, to try to work towards helping them transition from being homeless to having a source of employment and source of income. And I mentioned to Carmelita that perhaps some of the club members might be interested in serving as listening ears and tutors as the guests of the Warming Center prepare themselves in sort of a mock interview situation to help give them some feedback on their interview skills and how they might hone those to a higher level. So thank you again to each of you who have participated, and if you have shelving that you'd like to donate, please let me know and I'll be glad to pick it up and deliver.
Thank you, Gail. A couple things I want to focus on here at the very end before we get to the presentation is 100 little things. Photo on the screen is I went over to the school and picked up our board so we can keep track of it. These are the 9 projects that we've completed to date. So just imagine the new Rotary year starts in July, and we wanted to complete 100 service projects in 1 year, and we've already got 9 of them done. So we are off and running at a good pace. These 15 that are on the screen now are the ones that were in progress and people had contacted me, and we've done some of this before we went to shelter in place. So some of the stuff that I want to focus on now is the 5 that's on the screen today. We can continue to move forward. Some of these are easy ones to do. And like the very first one on the list is I'm looking for a champion, somebody that will collect the 100 cards that we want to send out over the holidays to veterans and active military. As I went over to the school, we have about 500 blank cards in inventory already. All you have to do is write a message on it, and we will send this to veterans or active military. So if there's anybody that wants to be a champion of this project, just email me. The other ones that are on there are somewhat easy. The collection of perishable canned goods and deliveries of fresh fruits and vegetables. I know that some of us have already helped others register to vote or do the census. If you've done any of these things, just drop me an email. Let me know tentatively how much you've done so we can keep that updated. And if you want to be the champion to deliver, say, canned goods to someone in need, just let me know. Because if we don't have a champion assigned, I'm going to start volunteering people that they might want to do a project. So we're going to start recruiting people to do them. So if you'd like to volunteer, that'd be great. If not, you may be kind of lassoed into doing it. So we'd appreciate any help that we can get. District news, the district governor's visit is still July 8th. Regardless of whether we can meet in person at the school or not, that visit will be online only, as that's the way that the district wants it. And we have someone sitting from the district getting ready to jump in on this call right now. So I see Jill's popping in, so we'll have somebody else popping in just a second. So moving down the list, from Rotary International, as Arbeck mentioned a minute earlier in our meeting, the international conference is virtual. It's free. It's online. If you've not registered, we'd encourage you to go to riconvention.org and go ahead and get registered. Breakout sessions are now where you can sign up for those also. So it's pretty interactive. It's pretty easy to register. If you need help getting in to register, please let me know. Please let President-elect Morris know. Any of us that have done that before can help. If you need help, just ask for it. And is there any good news anybody wants to share with other Rotarians? I'm going to start first. I did get a message from fellow Rotarian Brad Austin. He and his immediate family are vacationing in Wyoming at the moment, and he did send me a photo from Rotary Park in Casper, Wyoming. So the photo you see on the screen is from Rotary Park there. And yes, that is snow. He did drive through snow in parts of Wyoming on his drive through some of the monuments there. So that is very good. Faith, do you want to unmute yourself for a minute and tell everybody what you just sent me in that message? If not, I'm going to tell them.
Okay, no problem. Are you able to put the flyer in the chat? Upload that. My sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, in our chapter Gamma Kappa Omega, are partnering with the United Way, and we will be distributing free fresh produce through a drive-through pickup at 4 p.m. this Saturday at Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church. That is 400 East Main Street. So please share if you know anybody that may be in need. Just share the flyer. Shane said that he would email it just to get it to people who are still in need. So we're practicing safe and social distancing and masks and all of that. So we literally will just be putting it in your trunk, and then you can just drive off. So 4 p.m. this Saturday, Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and United Way. And I don't know if you saw, I put in there that I will take the vet card. I'll take that. Okay.
Yep, there was a couple of people that volunteered quickly on email for that one, but we're going to let you take that one, Faith, since you got online first to do that. So, Faith, I'll get you these cards when we meet in person. We can distribute them, and then you'll take them from there. Sound good?
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? Go ahead, Faith.
Yeah, we can meet and pick them up at some point so I can get rolling on it, because I have a thought.
I will get with you after the meeting, and I'll hand you the cards, and you can take it from there. How's that?
That works.
Excellent. Does anybody else have it? Sharon, I see your hand up.
Well, I survived my heart procedure last Wednesday. Tentatively, everything's going okay. I'm not back in AFib yet. I hope I don't go back. And my grandson turned 2 yesterday. So that was a very happy occasion.
Absolutely.
Does anybody else have anything to share? I don't see anybody's hands up. If I'm missing somebody, just go ahead and chime in. Rick Morris.
So my family is camping this weekend. All the scout camps in the region opened up to the public for use. So my family is going to be one of the first ones out there to rent one of the campsites this weekend. And we got permission from a couple of our chartered organizations. I mentioned this earlier, that our scout troops, the older scouts, can start meeting in groups of less than 10 outdoors, wearing masks, etc. So we've got some kids that are really excited to get out and start seeing their friends in person versus just via Zoom. So really exciting times there, and excited to get out of my home office and into the outdoors.
Excellent. Gail White, the Acting Sergeant at Arms, do you have anything to comment on today?
No fines today, but bonus points to anyone who signs up for the blood drive that's being held at the LDS Church this afternoon and evening, or at one of the ones being held yet this month, June, that WSIL is sponsoring at different locations, by the way.
Excellent. If anybody needs locations of the blood drives, redcross.org ought to have it on their website. If not, just email me and I'll hunt down locations of blood drives for you closest to your home. So, Gail, you got anything else you want to add?
No, keep doing good work.
Great. Well, Nick, are you ready? You look like you're ready to just burst there. Today's guest speaker, Nick, I'll let you introduce yourself. How's that?
All right. Well, my name's Nic Skovgaard. As my tag says, I'm the owner of AlterEgo Marketing, but I'm also the facilitator of the Jackson County CEO program. And I'll jump into that in just a second. I do want to use this platform really quickly to just acknowledge something that Carl said at the beginning of this about Black Lives Matter. I found a quote that I absolutely love, and I wanted to share it. Nothing will change until the unaffected are just as outraged as the affected. I think that's incredibly important, and I think it's incredibly important that all of us sort of step up and acknowledge the movement that's happening. It's incredible. Jumping into the CEO program, the Jackson County CEO program is unlike anything else I've ever seen in my life, the Midland Institute for Entrepreneurship. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so incredibly excited to be a part of it. But I want to start at the other end and talk about the problem. One of the biggest problems that small town communities across the nation are facing is that they lose the best and the brightest from their community year after year after year. Their local business community, the local businesses are not growing at the same rate they used to be. People are moving away to bigger cities. They're the smart, wildly successful, top producing kids out of the community go away to college, and oftentimes they don't come back. You've got a little bit of the brain drain that goes on from our small communities. And I want to take a second to think about, imagine you could find an economic engine that would drive a small town community like a Royalton or a Trico area, the towns that make up that school district, and use it to infuse students with business skills and savvy, with marketable understandings about the businesses that happen in their community, in their county, and in their region, get to build a network of valuable assets of all of these people who are in this meeting, people who are not in their generation, build them connections where they could really get to see how the businesses in their community work, what kind of impact they have, what they do, what makes them tick, how valuable their tax base is to their community and what it does. And that's really where the idea of the Midland Institute for Entrepreneurship was born, and where the Jackson County CEO program and the other 59 programs across the Midwest have come from. So the Jackson County CEO program is a young entrepreneurship program that is comprised of juniors and seniors from schools across Jackson County, including Carbondale High School, Murfreesboro High School, Alvarado High School, and Trico High School. And so we bring between 12 to 20 students every year into our program. They have to apply, like they're applying for a scholarship or a job, and they have to give a reason for why they want to be in this program. Now, this isn't a program where you can, let's say, just throw your name in the hat, put your little byline on your resume or your scholarship application to say, yeah, check, I'm in Key Club, or I showed up for something, or I attended meetings once in a while. The Jackson County CEO program, as Shane can acknowledge, because we used the Egyptian Electrical Co-op as one of our home bases, we start every single morning at 7:15 a.m. And some of my students from the Trico School District have a 30-minute drive, almost a 30-minute drive from home to be there on time. They have to be there in full dress attire. That's dress shoes, dress socks, dress pants, dress belt, the whole 9 yards. They have to be professional, and they have to be on time. We start officially at 7:30. They have to be there at 7:15. And they have to hold up to a certain standard. We never meet in a classroom, and there's a reason for that. We have every single one of our meetings in a local business or a local entity. We've met at the Wright Building Center. We've met at the Egyptian Electrical Co-op. We've met at the Farm Bureau. We tour businesses, and it gives these kids an opportunity to see a part of their community that very often they might only drive by for their entire high school career. Not only do they get to see it, they get to see behind the scenes. So over the course of a single year in the CEO program, which, by the way, meets 5 days a week for an hour and a half a day, so this is a huge time commitment for these students, we will tour more than 50 local businesses in the community. We'll meet with the business owner. We'll spend time in their business getting to know what their business is and how it works, how they make a profit, how they built their business, how they got started, what mistakes, trials, and tribulations they had to get off the ground. We'll have 40 to 60 business owner or entrepreneurship speakers come in and talk to the class and share their story. We will run various exercises. So we do everything from sort of like what we call a micro project, where they have to figure out how to plan, execute, finance, pay for, and build name tags that they're then required to wear all year long to identify them as Jackson CEO students, to an individual business, or excuse me, a class business, where the students will come together and they will build and write a business plan. They will develop that business plan all the way out into a fully fleshed idea. They will launch that class business that will make a real profit, that will go into a real bank account, and they are 100% responsible for that, 100% on their own. Our CEO students came together this last year, and they hosted a murder mystery dinner that they planned completely by themselves. They broke into 3 committees. They had to come up with ideas for the class business, and then they had to pitch that idea, not just the concept, but the whole fleshed out idea, to a 4-member panel of our board of directors to get a validation for it, but essentially. Then they had to develop this idea entirely by themselves. And then they had to do all the coordination, from the catering to the location, to the logistics, to the purchasing, everything, 100% on their own. We ended up having a wildly successful murder mystery dinner that got held at the Murfreesboro Elks Club, I believe. And we raised nearly $10,000 that went back into the students' personal fund. All of that money then goes in the back half of the year to fund individual businesses. So the individual businesses, every student will write a business plan, develop a business idea, run that business plan by a banker, do the entire process, start to finish, real money, real business, and pitch that business to a banker with a business plan and get a loan, it's out of our class fund because of course they're not 18, to start a real business and execute it within the time frame of the year. With COVID-19, obviously we had some challenges this year, but the thing that is incredibly important to remember is that we're teaching these students skills that you don't get anywhere else in life at 16, 17 years old. I mean, these are 16, 17-year-old kids writing business plans, pitching those business plans to bankers, meeting roughly 100 entrepreneurs for the community. And so the reaction that I get for everyone who comes into the class or every business that we go to is, I wish this would have been around when I was a kid. I wish they would have had something like this, because I don't know where all of you are. Or where all of you are in life, in your teen years or your early 20s. But most of us hadn't had anywhere near that level of experience. Our students are trained from day one on social soft skills. So that's everything from knowing how to make eye contact to how to shake a hand. They shake every hand of every person who comes in the room. And I can tell you that if you're somebody who lives in the community, who interacts with teenagers, that is not a skill that is widely done. It's something that is commented on by every single person who comes to visit. I cannot believe how professional these kids are. I cannot believe that they shook my hand, that they introduced themselves, that they made eye contact, that they know who they are, and they can deliver sort of an elevator pitch of their concept or idea. It trains those soft skills that make them a lot more valuable as employees within their community. So step one is we're building an economic engine, because these students build a network that allows them to see the value in their community and ideally launch a business within that community, because every single student will graduate at the end of the year of CEO as the founder of an actual real business. It's not a make-believe game. It's not a for fun. It's a legitimate business that is making a profit. They build an economic engine because they know how to run a business. They know what businesses are in their community. They know how those businesses make money. They understand how businesses work. So that's incredibly important. The second thing that we do, which is wildly important, is that we're developing a workforce. So if you look at any small town community across the United States, if you work with anyone who is 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, a lot of the biggest complaints about, I can't hire those students because they don't have the basic skills to work in a professional industry. Well, by the time they leave CEO, they know how to dress professionally. They know how to shake hands. They have a professional resume. They have a LinkedIn they have a LinkedIn portfolio. They have, basic email writing communication skills where they can write a professional email, they can write a professional letter, they can mail a thank you card. And those are wildly valuable skills that so often aren't learned until you're 20, 21, 25 years old. So we build that by the time they graduate high school, they will be the CEO and founder of a company that they built themselves with their own two hands, and they will know the basics of business. So then the third incredible thing the CEO program does is it builds a network for our high school students. Can you imagine being 18 years old and graduating high school knowing 100 of the most successful and influential business leaders in your community? Can you imagine what kind of power that comes with when you go out to apply for a job, when you go out to seek a scholarship or a letter of recommendation, and you already have this amazing list of connections that you can reach out to, not that know you on a little level, but that actually know you on a real professional level. They've seen what you do, they've met you, they've shaken your hand, they've seen your resume, they've seen your business plan, maybe they've even spent money with you, maybe you've even been part of our mentorship program. It is an absolute game changer. Now, I know I don't have a lot of time left, so I just want to circle back around with why I think the CEO program is something that has been so successful and that will continue to be so successful. It is community involvement. When anyone from the community comes in and they meet these young kids who are dressed professionally, who shake your hand, who look you in the eye, who can deliver an elevator speech, who have a network, who have an understanding and an awareness of the business community within their own city, their own town, and their own county, they know how business works. They know what payroll is. They know, what HR issues are. They know why you have to dress professionally. They know why reputation is so important, why you can't say or do certain things in the community when you represent a business. When they understand that at 16 years old, 17 years old, every student I had this last year was a junior, which means every single person who graduated my program was 17 years old. When you graduate high school with those basic skills, which very often you can't learn anywhere else because the structured environment of a lot of other programs are to teach you. Well, the thing about the CEO program is the CEO program is designed to give you the ability to go out and make mistakes, to fail, to learn the hard way, and we encourage that. Because if you bomb on an assignment or you are terrible at public speaking, it's not about getting a bad grade. It's about getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what this program does so incredibly well. This is obviously something that I could spend an hour talking about, but I want to make sure I save a little bit of time for questions, and it's 12:55 right now. So I'd like to open up the floor just a little bit and see if I can maybe engage in some two-way conversations to share a little bit more about this program. Does anybody have any questions I want to throw out? Jerry, put your hand first, and then Linda, you next.
Yes, could you comment on the kids coming in, the profile? I see the go-getter kids and the kind of the cream of the crop stuff, but what about the socioeconomic, gender, and race of the kids that generally join this program?
Jerry, that's a wonderful question, and it's actually something that our CEO board has spent a great deal of time talking about. We and the founder of the Midland Institute for Entrepreneurship, Craig Linval, started out with something really specific in mind, and that's that this isn't intended to just be for the high achiever kids. In fact, the reason I'm part of this program at all is because I think that CEO is perfect for somebody like me. I was someone who really struggled in high school. I was not a straight A student. I wasn't a rule follower. I liked to question authority. I was a difficult kid. I wasn't a bad kid, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had no direction. And I think CEO is one of the incredible programs that we're specifically not looking for who has the best resume. We're not looking for who has the best, the highest GPA. Those are actually the kids that we'd rather let them do something else with their time. We want to give opportunity to the kids who may be struggling in school but are good kids with tons of opportunity. The socioeconomic impact that we struggle with a lot is because this class is not held in a school, it meets off campus. Transportation seems to be the biggest single hurdle that we have. And the Midland Institute And I've been part of several discussions about how do we open this up to kids who come from families with less means, because you almost have to have reliable transportation dedicated to you as a high school student to be able to be part of this program, just because of the nature of where it is. So we've struggled a lot with that, but other than that, we're looking for kids who are in the middle of the road, kids who are still trying to figure out where they're going, not the straight A valedictorian students. That's not who we're after. Linda, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, my question was kind of along those same lines. I wanted to know if transportation got in the way of some kids participating.
It absolutely does.
Okay, so maybe I'm the president of an organization, so I'd probably like to talk to you about providing some transportation to help some kids participate in the
Linda,
program.
I would absolutely love that. This is a challenge that we've spent an unbelievable amount of time talking about. The biggest single challenge with the transportation issue is because it is early in the morning, and because it is 5 days a week, and because it's not always going to the same location. We move, so we tour lots of businesses. We move quarterly at the home base location. It's been a challenge because it's not like we can just arrange sort of a bus or something like that. The other thing that we struggle with is from a compliance or insurance liability standpoint, we are not allowed to arrange, like, let's say, a carpool between two students who live close to each other, who would then be able to help each other get to class, because it becomes a liability issue for the program. But Linda, I would love to have a further conversation with you about that. Shane, will you make sure that Linda and I have each other's contact information?
Yeah, if it's okay with you, Nick, I'll send Linda your contact information and let Linda reach out from there, if that's okay.
Please do. And then if you want to post my public email, that's perfectly fine. Anybody can reach me on that number or my office line here. I'll be happy to share that information as well. And like I said, I love this stuff. I can do this all day.
Do you think you'll do more in the future virtual meetings?
You know, I think that virtual is a really neat tool that opens up a lot of possibilities. It opens us up to having speakers who are not geographically able to be there. But unfortunately, I think that the value for a lot of these students is they need to be in the same room of professionals, where the accountability for being a professional yourself, even at 16 years old, is top tier. And I think that putting in the same room is really important. Shane, I don't want to go over my time. I know it's 1 o'clock, but I do want to stop and just say thank you so much. If you have not taken the time yet, jacksonceo.org is our website. There's an email list. We send out a weekly newsletter of what we're doing and where we're going. We're always looking for mentors. We're always looking for volunteers who can participate in the program. We're looking for new board members. And of course, we're always looking for ways to connect with the community, business owners, tours, and speakers. If you're interested in learning more, I would love to talk to you.
Well, Nick, if you'd like, you can come back to our meeting next week, and we could try to squeeze 5 minutes in around our guest speaker next week, and you could maybe give them a little bit of time to process some of this information. If you'd like to come back, I'll send you the link for next week.
I would be more than happy to, anytime.
Thank you.
Shane, can I say one more thing?
Yep, go ahead.
On your champion list, items 2, 3, or 4, I'd be happy to spearhead any one of those 3. Apples, tomatoes, and cans. I can't remember which ones they were.
Can you see the screen now?
Yep. I'd be happy to champion any one of those 3.
How about we I'm going to go down the list right now, because as you were talking, I was reading through email and text, and project number 1 is the champion is now Faith Miller. So thank you, Faith, for taking on that service project. Project 2 is Rick Morris. So thank you, Rick. So Nick, do you want to do the fresh fruits or the fresh vegetables?
I'm either one. I'm a fruit kind of guy there. So let me take the apples.
All right, we'll give you the one, and then Brooke Guthman is going to be the champion of the vegetable project. So we launched 4 service projects in a matter of an hour today, and then we're going to be pushing number 5 again next week. Is how can we, as we start to come out of social distancing, help our local community with the census and with voter registration. So you'll see that one again next week, and you might see 4 more hit on this list. So I want to point that out. So thank you for championing those. Thank you, Nick, for joining us in this journey, and hopefully you'll join us again next week.
I love what you guys are doing. That's incredible. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm going to scroll through the list. Next week's speaker is our very own Rotarian, Brooke Guthman. Brooke is going to be talking about the revitalization project at downtown Murfreesboro. So that's going to be another project to talk about. So moving forward, the changeover is coming up. Rick, do you want to talk a little bit about the changeover event?
We're going to go through and I'm going to treat it somewhat like a club assembly, where we're going to talk we're going to ask each one of our committee chairs to do a brief presentation on what their committee has been doing and what we're going to be doing moving forward. And like I said, I'll be reaching out to everybody here in the next week to discuss that a little further, but I'm excited. I went by the office today and picked up a gavel. We have a couple of them over there, so I've got a gavel ready to go. Yeah, so excited to jump into things and keep moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Rick. I put up on the screen now, later today, I'll upload this video to our YouTube channel. We've not made this public, but we will be making it public. I need to make sure, Rick, are you good with making this public since you're going to be president moving forward? So I'll put this out in social media with a little assistance today, and we'll start seeing, so allow other Rotarians to get to our videos. But if you're a YouTuber, our channel is called Carbondale Rotary, and the last 3 meetings are already in the public space. So as we close today's meeting, does anybody have any questions that they want to ask as we're starting to wrap up? On the screen, I want people to remember why we get together, what we do as Rotarians. There are lots of missions of Rotary. We've talked about some of our local club projects, but don't forget the international effort to end polio. Don't forget the project that we're doing in Haiti. So there are many projects that we can touch. So will Pam Brown, are you still on the line with us today? Will you unmute yourself and lead us in the 4-way test?
Hey, the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth?
The truth.
Second, is
it fair to all concerned?
3, will it build
goodwill
and
better friendship?
And 4, will it
be beneficial to all concerned?
You're ready.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a great week. And Faith, I'll be reaching out to you later today, and we'll arrange to get these cards out to you, and we'll get that service project started. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Speaker.